And clouds are very nice and clear today. Okay, but like always, to be clear now, but come 2 p.m., 3 p.m., it will be pouring. Okay. How is it in Penang, Pak Yi? Okay. So for today, thank you very much for Penang also cozy. That's good to hear. For today, what we are going to do is we are going to look into graduate attributes. What are graduate attributes? Nurturing graduate attributes in our students. And what is also most important will be the emphasis on how do we do it through our lessons. Now, many a times, sometimes there is a slight confusion when we talk about graduate attributes, where many of our colleagues feel that is there something extra that I need to do that will require me to restructure my lessons and so on. All right. Many a times there is no need for us to do that. Okay, there is no need for us to redesign or change a lot of things. There could be some slight tweaks in the way that we deliver and also on the element of maybe examples. Okay. So what we are going to do today is in today's session, I'm going to explain to you about graduate attributes, how the graduate attributes came about for UOW Malaysia. And also I'm going to use one exact example that has been done by one of our colleagues in School of Engineering. Okay, so in School of Engineering, as you know, engineers per se, and also people who teach in the school itself, one of our particular colleague, what she has done is she has looked into the lesson or the course that she is teaching, and she actually implemented certain areas where she can actually develop certain key graduate attributes of students, okay, that are not under her course learning outcome. So what I'm going to do later, after explaining what graduate attributes are, will be to explain to you how this could be done. All right. So today's session, it is 9:03. I expect we should complete by before 11, definitely before 11. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat or you can unmute yourself also. Okay. Thank you very much. So let's start. So areas of discussion today will be on what are GAs, graduate attributes, and GA implementation in courses. Okay. So I think what is important, the first thing is what are actually graduate attributes. Okay, what are actually graduate attributes? So if you look into basic definition, graduate attributes are the qualities, skill, and understanding a university community agrees its students should develop during their time with the institution. Okay, so basically it means what are the key qualities, skills, and understanding that a student who joins University of Wollongong, Malaysia, they must develop at the time during their time here at their institution. Now, many of us will say that, so what does it mean? It means that is it the same as PEOs, program educational objectives? Similar but not the same, similar but not the same, because graduate attributes basically come from the history of the institution. Okay, so how does graduate attribute come about? Very much it is from the history of the institution. Every institution will have its own history and how the founder actually, in a way, wants every individual who passes through the doors of the institution to have. Graduate attributes are also highly influenced by expectations of the job market and also basic personal and interpersonal traits that is critical in every individual, in every graduate itself. Graduate attributes does not only touch about student must be intelligent. All right. Student must have the knowledge to be a good engineer. That can be a component, but that doesn't encompass what the graduate attributes are. So when we look at graduate attributes, I just want to repeat here and further emphasize on certain key aspects. So if you look into the definition by Bowden, are the qualities, all right? So when we look at qualities, it is very much what an individual should portray when they graduate from us. So these qualities must be attained during their time with us. So when we say during our time with us is, if a student who is doing their degree, it is going to be 3 to 4 years. Engineering degree is 4 years, and many other degrees are 3 years. So during that time, I'm using an engineering degree, for example. During that duration of 4 years, students must meet or must attain these qualities. Okay, these qualities. What are the qualities? Later we talk. So how do they attain it? They can attain it through experiential learning. Okay, one is instructed learning. Instructed learning is where I teach you. This is very core essence. Core essence means if you're in engineering, you learn mathematics, I teach you mathematics. So that is the core. Then we have experiential learning. During the process of 4 years at UOW, what the students have gone through, the ups and downs, the meeting with friends, the excursions, the industrial visits, all of that also will develop and build the qualities of this student. Working with friends, arguing with friends, being disappointed, then building themselves back up again. All right. These are the qualities. Resilience. Because of that, students got resilience. So these are the qualities that we want in our student. Example. Okay. So that is number one, the qualities. So what are these qualities? Later we talk, because it was developed, and I will also explain to you how this came about. Then, of course, skills. Skills is important. Skills is very much your technical aspect of things. That means if you are in engineering, you're doing a degree in engineering, then the skills will be very much based on the discipline itself, the engineering skills. However, the other skills that is not only directly based on discipline will be things such as like interpersonal and also personal skills, communication skills. These are all also skills that we hope the students attain during their journey through us. So that 4 years that the students are with us, it is like a gap in their life. It is a journey. All right, it is a journey. So as they go through this journey, they will experience, they will go through, and from there they will ascertain those kind of skills. And when they come out, they will have that particular skills to be relevant, good individuals in society. And of course, and understandings, a university community agrees. So all of these skills, quality skills, and other aspects that we agree that a student should develop. This is what a student would need. Not only maybe knowledge, but also ethics, but also being a good person, but also being resilient and so on. All right, during their time here in the institution. Okay, so this is what graduate attributes are. Are graduate attributes similar in all institutions? No, they are not. Because historically, they may have the institution may have been instituted differently compared to us. All right. So the history of the institution will have an influence on how the graduate attributes have been developed. So if you read graduate attributes of many different institutions, you will see that they are written differently, they are emphasized differently. However, 80% of the general theme will be the same. All right, 80% will be roughly the same. But there is slight difference based on, as I said, about historical elements, cultural elements, political elements, funder, even the funder of the institution may have an influence on the graduate attributes also. Okay, so the next part, graduate attributes are aspirational qualities. We aspire to. To aspire to means we want to attain something that we put on a pinnacle, a level that we feel if students attain that, they will be good individuals. So these are called aspirational qualities. Okay, aspirational, we want to attain that. We aim to progressively develop in students through learning and teaching at UOW Malaysia. So another keyword that I put there in green is progressively. Students will not attain the 6 graduate attributes on the first day when they enter the institution. No, they will not. It is a progressive learning process. Means it is slow. It goes from gradual, and the curve then increases and it becomes a little steeper. And because it is experiential, what happens is students will attain those attributes, or they will learn it differently. They will learn it differently. Okay. Example, I'm going to use an example in here in the UG campus. Sometimes you see there are many activities down at our foyer. All right. A lot of happening activities. Then you see students participating in those activities. Not all students participate, but some students actively participate in numerous activities. Whenever there is, there is. So what has happened is these students who actively participate, they volunteer for it, they will then learn or attain different qualities. All right. They will learn and attain different qualities that the students who don't participate or do not want to participate may not get at that same level. At that same level. Example, group work. Working in groups. Every student work in groups based on their program. However, students who participate more in those activities, they will get more chances to participate in groups and to experience and to make mistakes and to further improve on themselves. Okay, so that is why it varies. All right, the attainment and the depth of graduate attributes attainment, it varies depending on the particular student itself, how the student participates and so on. Okay, now they articulate those aspects of our approach that are common across faculties and disciplines. So these graduate attributes will cover not only engineering school, but also computing, business, and so on across all boards. Okay, so this is what we feel every individual should have. All right, understand, guys, so far? Okay, about what graduate attributes are. Okay, now some elements of graduate attributes deal with discipline knowledge and its application, some with higher order thinking, some with generic skills, and others with attitudinal societal values. So as you see our graduate attributes, you will see that it is not only emphasizing on the discipline of the individual. We are looking also at thinking, encouragement of thinking. We're looking at lifelong learning, ethics, worldview. So all of these play a part. All of these components play a part in the development of our graduate attributes. Okay. So, sorry. So when we look at I will prefer to, sorry, my mouse terjalan a little bit. Okay. So when we look at it, certain key aspects that always we want to emphasize is things such as like employability. All right. Then we have lifelong learning. Then we have personal development. And we also have contribution to society. These are not our graduate attributes. These are the key aspects or the key elements that students basically we always think they should have. So our students need to be employable, right? And that is our role. Okay, they come here, they study, they get the skill, they go out, they must be employable. Now, being employable, always remember it is the employee here who must demonstrate to the employer that they are good and the employer wants them. All right. So the employer have certain criteria. This is what I want. These are the things that I need. Then the employee, as the student, will need to demonstrate all of this. So employability means we need to understand what the employer wants. Number two, lifelong learning. We students that are able to look into being able to develop themselves continuously, does not see that a completion of my tertiary education means the completion of my learning. Learning doesn't stop there. So we want that kind of attitude in our student. Every day is a learning process. Learning is a betterment of themselves that at the end of the day will not only develop them, but be valuable to the employer. Employer wants assets that can grow. Okay, so what are assets that can grow? Employees that practice lifelong learning, they develop themselves and so on. Personal development, not only lifelong learning, but they themselves, they pursue their self-awareness. What are their strengths and what are the weaknesses and better? Not only formally bettering themselves, but on the aspect of behavior, behavioral improvement. Now, when I say behavioral improvement here, please don't take me to say that we have bad behavior. No, behavioral improvement is a term used basically for us when we look into when we do reflection, and after reflecting, we self-develop ourselves to be better individuals. Okay, and of course, the fourth context over there that is something very critical will be the contribution to society. So, yes, we have reached if we have reached a phase in human development where it is not only about us, it is also about society, it is also about the environment, it is also about the betterment of humankind itself. So when we look into contribution to society, this is something that is critical that we want to instill in our students. These are general themes over here. And these general themes then further develop the 6 graduate attributes. Let me emphasize a little bit about contribution to society. If you see the current MQF version 2.0, 2024, the newest MQF 2.0. For those of you who may not know MQF, Malaysian Qualifications Framework, it is the basic document by MQA to state about the expectations of the graduates and whatnot. One key aspect on this MQF 2.0 is the emphasis of the SDGs. So now the MQA itself and what is done by MQA is also driven by the Ministry of Education, emphasizes that any program now in Malaysia, if you're developing a new program, you need to emphasize, you need to ensure that you touch on the 17 SDGs. All right. And it doesn't mean you do all 17. So you may want to emphasize on maybe 7, 8, or 9. But students need to understand these SDGs. Okay, so there are 4 key things. That is number 1. I want to emphasize on 2 things only 2 things first about the new MQF. So as you see, even the ministry is looking at it. So if you look at graduate attributes, what we want in our student. So even previously, contribute to society was already there. Now the ministry has formalized it by putting it in a document that all new programs developed must touch on the 17 SDGs. Students must be educated on what these SDGs are. Okay, but if your program want to emphasize on maybe 7 or 8, it is fine. But they need to know the theoretical understanding of what these SDGs are. The second thing that I wanted to emphasize is what they want is the aspect of ethics, or I would say the key aspect of understanding what is right or wrong. So one key aspect on the new MQF is they want us to put value instilling into our student. What are these values? Values is basic understanding of right and wrong. Those are the things which when we were young, our parents told us already, right or not? Yeah. But now they want to formalize it to ensure that this is being instilled in our student. Okay, that what are values, what is correct, what is not correct. Maybe the reason why this is emphasized, especially in the recent document, was in the past few years, if you see the major crimes that have happened in Malaysia are very much white-collar crimes. Crimes that are done by people who are well-educated, trained individuals, okay? Not so much on the blue collar, but on the white collar. So having a high education does not mean a person upholds values. So they actually emphasize on that. Okay, so yes. So basically, even that recently, this is what has been instilled. And for those who are, as I said, new program development, you put it in. Even the current program, when you are doing program review, you are supposed to put it in. You are supposed to put it in. You are correct, Dr. Loh, value system. You're supposed to already put it in. So when you're doing your program review and your curriculum review, please start putting this in already. I've actually spoken to the heads, and I believe they already have a bit of an idea on that this needs to be done ASAP lah. Okay. So in Malaysia, the graduate attributes are always read in line with the program educational objective of a program. Now, for those of you who do understand, PEOs program educational objectives are 4 to 5 key statements that state what a student should have and from the day they graduate and 5 years down the road. So those things are called program educational objective. So if I do a engineering degree and that my program education objectives would state that I will now, after 4 years, graduate and I will still be competent until from the day of my graduation and 3 to 5 years down. Okay, so that is what PEOs are. All right, and from PEOs, PLOs are then developed and CLOs and so on. So basically, here in Malaysia, we look at graduate attributes and PEOs are normally read hand in hand. However, as I stated earlier on, PEOs may not only be because of the program, but it is very much the development or the skills that we need the students to have. All right, those are program, not PEO, sorry, graduate attributes. Graduate attributes are that. So it is graduate attributes are more holistic, more encompassing. It is wider. These are the skills that we want our students to have. Okay. So when we look at graduate attributes here at our institution, these are our graduate attributes. Now, where did we come up from? How did we come up of these 6 graduate attributes? How did these 6 come about? Basically, these 6 came about based on few different elements, where certain individuals sat down and then they actually studied our parent institution, UOW Australia, looked into KDU historically since 1983, who we were, look into the environment, and basically also studied what graduate attributes are in many large institutions. It is not wrong for us to replicate and to learn from other big institutions. Then from there, these 6 were developed. And these 6 are intellectual competency, professional acumen, effective communication skills, creative, critical thinking and problem-solving abilities, entrepreneurship spirit, and global mindset. So we hope that at the end of the day, when students graduate, they graduate from us, on the day of graduation, they will have these skills. These are the skills. So the next question a lot of people ask me, if a student graduate on a level 4 program, 4 means diploma, level 6 degree, and a level 8 PhD, will they attain the same thing? I say, yes, they will attain the same thing. They must attain this. However, at different levels. You don't expect a level 3 student, which is a certificate student, to have a professional acumen of the same depth and understanding as a person who is level 7 or 8. Nothing to do with ethics, it's just the depth of understanding. All right. So even a certificate student will understand about entrepreneurial, will understand about global mindset, will understand about SDGs, why they are important. All right. At that level itself. As they progress from let's say a level 3 student progress to a level 4, a level 6, a level 7 and 8, then the depth of knowledge will then be, the breadth and depth will be higher then. Okay. So these are what the graduate attributes are. Now, if you look at these graduate attributes, intellectual competency very much comes down to the cognitive element of that individual. Not only will the individual be able to understand, but able to apply and synthesize to be able to create new based on the knowledge. So that's very much on the intellectual competency. Okay, okay. I think it would be easier if I were just, before I explain it that way, I will go through. This way is easier. All right. So when we talk about intellectual competency, I'm going to use it as GA1. So later, as more examples go, that's the short form over there. Demonstrate in-depth knowledge of the discipline. That's why I highlight the discipline part for effective decision making. So the first graduate attribute is always make sure you completed your engineering degree. You are able to demonstrate knowledge of the discipline, engineering degree itself. All right. So that is basic. When you graduate, you must be able to. So some people ask, what if a student after 4 years, they cannot demonstrate? If they cannot demonstrate, basically, they don't even meet PLOs, correct? That's why they don't graduate. They may have failed certain courses and so on. All right. So the inability to demonstrate the discipline or as meeting the program learning outcomes would deem that person not valid in the way of attaining the qualification itself. So the first GA is on discipline. This is the easiest. This is the easiest to attain because our courses develop students here, okay, in that discipline. Then what about professional acumen? Okay, professional acumen, GA2, things such as like apply knowledge learned effectively into their professional career. Application, that means not only that, the challenges, the skills that they learn, they put it in. Demonstrate skills of the discipline effectively and professionally. Do it properly, professionally. Establish a strong understanding of industrial requirements and challenges. Being adaptive. Strive for justice, equality, honesty, and integrity in his or her professional pursuits. Not only do they do it correctly, they do it well and continuously engage in learning new knowledge of the discipline as well as across discipline. So professional acumen is the drive for them to be able to develop their discipline itself in the future. So if a person has graduated in engineering, not only do they have the discipline at that level, but they want to also, the professional acumen drives them to further develop about this, research, self-development, and so on. Okay. Then we have communication skills. Now, here the word communication skill is a larger umbrella. It is not only oral, it is numerous types of communication. It can be visual communication. It also can be oral communication, written communication, and so on. So express and discuss complex ideas effectively in written and spoken form, one, and utilize various information technologies to communicate. So not only we are looking at written and spoken, but also on the aspect of technology. How are we able to keep ourselves abreast on matters pertaining to technology and being able to use the correct technology to ensure effective communication. Okay, effective communication is where whatever that it is being generated in the mind of the sender receives at the mind of the receiver with the least distraction and with the least what do you call that, disruption. Okay. Number 4, creative critical thinking and problem solving abilities. That is GA4. Analyze, assess, and utilize different thinking skills to determine the value of information and ideas. All right. Able to analyze and assess, provide solutions to problems effectively, inspire others and work effectively in a team, and demonstrate self-awareness and self-reflection towards continuous quality improvement. Okay, so when you talk about creative critical thinking and problem-solving abilities, is this individual who is able to see the situation from numerous different dimensions and be able to give support or solution. I'm always a caution about the word solution. It is support, ideas, and at the end of the day, solution to that problem based on numerous different dynamics. Okay, not only looking at it from one area, but from different areas. So if we are taking this as an example, experience plays a very big role. Okay, experience of the student, experience when they attain during their study in the university will have a direct impact on how they look at problems. Okay, because problems for many of you, for some of you who are in the in management line, we don't call it problems, we call it opportunities, right now. Opportunities. So generally, problem may not be a negative discrepancy of the optimum. It could be something which could be positive. All right. So a problem can be an opportunity, depending on how an individual looks at it. Okay, how a person looks at things can see different issues differently. So this is what we want our students to have. And that is a critical graduate attribute, because what we have when this was developed, especially in when this came out in 2019, 2020, during that time, when feedback was attained from our industrial partners, many of them emphasize not so much on the technical skill. They say, guys, technical skill, I know your students already got. Because they graduate from you, they got their degree, they got their diploma, they go out and work. But we want them to be also be adaptable, versatile, being able to accept disappointment and so on. So those are the key things. So after hearing from them and also listening and reading from what other industries talk about, then we find that this was a critical thing, not so much on just solving the problem, but be able to look at it from numerous different dimensions. Different dimensions. So that is why the approach that the facilitator have in class is critical. When students meet with certain challenges, it is where we are able to, in a way, instigate a thought in them, students. Now, you look at that. Why is it like that? How would you want to settle it? What if the situation was different? What if the environment was different? Now, look at the issue that you're having. Can this be a positive element that you have not thought of? You're only looking at it at a negative sense. Could this be a positive aspect? So students will then able to look at situations differently, very differently. The reason why I would like to emphasize a little bit here, a little bit more, is because literature, readings and so on, and also based on experience, have taught us that in our contexts, many a times we are the product of our environment. And having an environment that encourages positive thought and also critical thinking will then create a behavior in the student that every time when they see a problem, they don't shock, and panic, but they look at it and they say, okay, yes, it is an issue. Let's look at it. How do we solve it? Do I have power over it? Do I have no power over it? What are controllable elements? What are non-controllable elements? Maybe I shouldn't harp on the non-controllable elements because I got no control. I will then look into the controllable elements and how I can make this issue or problem easier to accept or make it an opportunity. Okay. So this is what we nurture in our students because the environment that we are in. Oh, yes, some feedback over there. Bagi was saying some students even find it unable to generate a proper formal letter, email or letter requesting for leave. Yes, yes. So if we look into communication skill, this is critical. Communication skill is a good communication skill is the ability to put what is in the mind of, as I said, of the person who's sending the message to the mind of the person who is receiving the message. I believe in human resource and also management and marketing theories, they have this thing. And many a times noise impacts the message going through. I believe some of you may be of the same age when this particular party game was played. It is called the telephone, remember or not? Where individuals will sit in a circle or sit in a line or sit in a line, and then a message is sent from the first person to the second person, and it sends on. Most of the times when the message reaches the end, it is been totally distorted. Okay, total distortion. The reason why can be many reasons. It could be message not sent properly. It could be the listener do not have the same comprehension or same ability of understanding what is being said. It could be jargons that are being used. It could be external forces, too noisy, cannot hear properly. Many, many different things. I can go on and on, but the message goes off at the end. So when we talk about effective communication skills, it's the ability for us to be able to understand these noise factors and be able to reduce the noise so that communication takes place in an effective and efficient manner. That is what communication is. So, for example, Baki over there has highlighted some students can't even write an email, correct? So that is the problem. Let's look at it from numerous different dimensions. Why is it so? Why are students not able to write? Okay, one could be the background itself. If a student has been developed in a particular a language, a medium of communication for 17 years, suddenly come to university and require to use a different medium, example, then it takes time for us to adapt. Okay, it takes time for us to adapt. It takes time for the students to adapt. All right. Number two, fear. What are the challenges that the students may have? How do we approach it to ensure that the students will be able to communicate in that way? What tools can we give the student so that they can follow certain processes to ensure better communication skills? That is why I still remember in my time, I'm talking about the 80s, 80s and 90s, when we used to learn it's English and also formal writing and whatnot. Our teachers during that time actually give us guide. Okay, guides. There are certain set guides. Guys, you are new. You follow this first. As you gain experience and ability, then you adapt. But you need to learn from that. Okay. Now, could it be that maybe our students were not exposed to that kind of guidance? Could it be that the students do not have the ability to be able to demonstrate or communicate in that way? And because they don't have the tools, this is what happens. So this is where we as facilitators, if we want to ensure effective communication skill, GA3, then we may need to analyze a little bit what is lacking over there. How can I, even in my lesson, I'm teaching, let's say I'm teaching human resources. It is not a language course. But can I integrate elements in my human resource course that I'm teaching during my lessons and ensure that my students will be able to develop communication skills? That is part two lah. But since the question has been asked, this is how it is. How can I do it? How can I do it? Later, I will explain to you that how a teacher teaching mathematics able to develop communication skill in an engineering class. Communication has nothing to do with the CLO in mathematics in engineering, but she developed her course in a way that required students to do it. Later we talk about that. Okay. Then GA5, entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, engage risk and reality in decision making. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurial here, it doesn't mean we want all our students to be entrepreneurs and run their business. It is the spirit of an entrepreneur. What does an entrepreneur have? You know, the drive. So many a times, what we are developing are intrapreneurs. Intrapreneurs are entrepreneurs in a company. Like for me, I work for a company called UOW Malaysia. However, based on my role, I am an intrapreneur. At times, I need to develop new things. I need to develop new programs. I need to grow, come up with new products and so on. So that is an intrapreneur. So I am an entrepreneur in a company. All right. So this is what we want to develop in our students for them to be able to see that this is a key graduate attributes that will value, it will be very valuable for them out. Because at the end of the day, the company will see your value based on the Chisong is writing, communication is critical in the learning of mathematics. Yes, which is indeed a language in its own way. Yes, of course, definitely. You can communicate with zeros and ones, right? Not okay. May not be easy lah. So as what I was saying, even for us, private institution, being an entrepreneur is critical. Students, when they come out, the value of the student, with the value of a student or an employee in the future is only how much the student can contribute back to the company. So when the student graduates, they work in the company, is their value is not the 9 hours or 8 hours that they punch their card. No, it's how much they can contribute back to the company. It is the value proposition. It's a trade. I give you salary, remuneration, you give me your expertise. So if you got more expertise and you are entrepreneurial, you got ideas and this and that, your value proposition goes up. Your value goes up. So once your value goes up, it will then match with remuneration. The bargaining power becomes higher. Bargaining power of student of the worker becomes higher. So when the bargaining power becomes higher, this element over here can be bargained to a higher state. If this company cannot give me, no problem. I go to another company. So the value of the student goes up. Okay, so that is why entrepreneurial spirit is critical. Okay, demonstrate high adaptability and perseverance in overcoming challenges. Now, this is something, perseverance is something also which our IAP industry advisory panel always stress. They always tell us, guys, you need to make sure your students can accept failure, can accept being scolded, can accept challenges, can accept needing to do things in the last minute, because that is what the industry is. Gone is the industry so predictable. A predictable industry is, I still remember in the 80s, in the 90s when I'm a child of the 70s. So in the 80s and 90s, when I started going to university, it was very predictable. Guys, engineering, guys, accounting, guys, business, and so on. You can literally see what is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years and what demand will be for which role and job. It was very, very simple. Today, totally different. Okay, I can't even predict. It's very difficult even for me to predict what is the key element of demand for roles or jobs that is in a way needed in our country. Okay, yes, many people say is computer chips fabrication, but Malaysia is doing more testing, right? We are doing more on the testing side only, right? So what areas do we actually need? Then people always argue, say me, hey, you look at our company in Malaysia, all the tech company, the stock, the share very strong, very high. Then I'm thinking, you know why not? Because Malaysia government encourage EPF to invest in Malaysia company, So EPF want to invest in Malaysia company. Where do they invest? In these companies, lah. That is why they are very high. Correct or not? For those of you who do investing in shares and so on, right or not? So sometimes we need to understand also, sometimes on this kind of aspect. So I do not want to divest in my briefing over here, but entrepreneurial spirit is something extremely critical. Extremely critical. I don't know. Will computing chip market grow? Recently, they'll say Intel investing X amount in Penang. Then after that, when we read again, after 1 week, Intel just released 150 staff. Okay, so very difficult. Okay, I don't have that strong ability to forecast what is actually happening. It's too volatile. I always say it's too volatile, and this volatility means our students that graduate from us must be able to adapt to this volatility. So they must be able to adapt in that. If the thing changes, I need to adapt. If that thing changes, I need to adapt. Okay? For us, we need that, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult due to how we were. But if we don't, then we will be obsolete. Us today will be obsolete because of not able to adapt accordingly. Okay? Innovate and generate ideas, and of course, evaluate the context and viability of an organization or business. Evaluate the context and viability of an organization or business. So that is what entrepreneurship is. Viability is, should we do or not? Should we invest or not? Should we go and buy that company or not? Example, all right? Or should we do this project or not? And I can tell you that is really, 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 really difficult. I'm going to tell you a story that many of you may already know. As many of you know, I was from the hospitality school, and in 2006, 2007, somewhere there, or maybe was it 2008? I can't remember. So around, I know it was before 2010. I developed this program called Diploma in Golf Resort Management. Okay, Golf Resort Management. Why? We did research. There are many golf clubs in Malaysia. They don't have skilled people. We speak to the industry partners. They say, yes, we need people who are trained in golf. What do you call that? Diploma in golf. So we got experts from Malaysian Golf Association. Nice people. Then after that, we also work with Australian University. All right. Australians are good in their sports and in their golf programs. Then we developed one, sent to MQA. MQA came to tell us, oh, you guys very good. Ini diperlukan. So we are happy lah. We launched the program. First intake, 2 students. Second intake, 3 students. Third intake, 1 student. My big boss over from Paramount, get come. I thought your forecast very good. I said, market research very good. Everything very good. Student did not take. Why? Market not ready. All right. When we do counseling with the student, we explain to the parents. Parents say, wow, baik, baik. 很好. But when they sign up hotel and catering. Why? Because the market bigger. They were more afraid. Golf was very narrow. Diploma in golf resort management was very narrow. Golf only narrow. So they want something broader. Whereas it was something that the market wanted. So what I'm trying to say here is this. During that time, it was already like that. Today, things are even faster. All right. And it is those things that when we look at the viability of business, maybe it was my fault. It's definitely my fault because I'm the one that developed it. I could have done a next level of research, not only in the viability, that the demand from the market, but also the readiness of the consumer to buy. Okay, that was not done because we wanted to be fast. That wasn't done. So that could be the issue. Readiness. You can have the best product, but the customer not ready, they don't buy. All right. But as they get today, that program may be fabulous, may be very good because the readiness is already there. Okay. So this is what entrepreneurship spirit is. Be able to see all of these things and be able to learn from your mistakes. Okay. Be able to learn from it and from there adjust and better in the future. Okay. And number 6, global mindset. Function in an international context with respect of diversity and be open-minded to social and cultural differences. SDG lah. Remember we're talking about SDG and how MQA already require since anything now new one must have SDG already. Be knowledgeable about national, international, and global issues. Collaborate with anyone at any location of the world, anytime and anywhere, and be responsible and ethical global citizen. Okay, so these are the 6 graduate attributes that we have that was developed for our student itself. Okay, so when now next part is this. We only understand, yes, those are very good. No argument. How do we implement it? So basically, the implementation of graduate attributes will be very much on 3 different dimensions. So these three different dimensions also fall into the Bloom's taxonomy. So we have the cognitive, the psychomotor, and the affective. Cognitive, brain. Psychomotor, hand. Affective, heart. Okay, so when you look into it, there is basic theories and concept. I will not touch much about it because I've been touching quite about it already in the facts. So you will see that a lot of the GA is affective. All right, about the heart. Okay. We are talking about lifelong learning. We are talking about ethics. We are talking about being able to handle problems. So they are very effective part, not so much on the cognitive part about the job itself. And then you will, if you think about it properly, actually it's very similar, the graduate attributes, to the skills required by the 5 clusters. You know, the 5 clusters, the 11 subclusters, cognitive, then we have the knowledge, then we have personal, interpersonal, we have ethics, lifelong learning, and so on. So all of this, then numeracy, digital, and whatnot. So most of it is actually complements each other. So the way that we require our students to attain those graduate attributes is very similar to already the way that we run our program. Subconsciously, we are doing a lot already. We are easily doing 80 to 90%, but subconsciously. Okay, so now if you become conscious about what you are doing and you are able to see which area that is done, but maybe you may want to emphasize a little bit more, then it can be something that is more structured. The graduate attributes achievement can be more structured by the students. Okay, so how do we implement? Implementation mechanism. Students will achieve GAs during their participation in the academic program and through co-curricular activities. So this is very critical, this thing in red. Not only academic programs, so that means you are not responsible for the student to achieve all the GAs. No, it is the experience that they are here for the 3 or 4 years. During that duration, they will attain it. Co-curricular activities play a critical role, so important on developing character of the student. That is why students are highly encouraged to join clubs, societies, and participate in after-school activities. All right, it develops there. Many of these development, as I stressed earlier on in my session, are experiential. You go through, you work with people, and from there you develop. Okay. Now, the graduate attributes of UOWM, that's us, student, will vary based on the level of study the student is in and the institution which will strive to ensure students achieve the stipulated GAs by the end of the duration of study. As what I stressed, student in diploma, degree, master's, certificate at the bottom, they will achieve, but at different levels. All right. Fundamentally, GAs will be attained through the courses and CC activities. Courses will encompass both common and discipline-related modules, whereas CC activities will include all activities students participate that are not program-related. This could be all our program. Like over here, we used to have the Youth Empowerment Program, Generation W. Every activity that we have will then develop students GA. Because students participate, they become leaders and so on. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is 9:52 now. We are going to take a 10-minute break. Please, okay, a little bit more than 10 minutes, maybe 13 minutes lah. So please be back by 10:05. Go and get a drink or whatever, and then we come back and continue. All right, guys. Okay, fellow friends, it's 10:03, so we are going to continue. For those of you, the reason why we give 30 minutes is my office to the toilet is actually pretty far. So required back to and fro roughly around 7 minutes. Okay, so I think Bridget will know lah. My office to the toilet is quite far on. Not considering sometimes inside there can be very full. That's where the students actually main toilet that the students uses. It's like 13-minute break lah. 10 minutes I think I cannot also. Okay, very good. All right, so this is as what we have covered, the implementation mechanism. So always take note, it is not only through academic programs, but also co-curricular activities that play a key role in students achieving their graduate attributes. Very important. Okay. Now, so implementation on GAs, graduate attributes continue. We have our common core. So common core will be courses across UOWM. We have English, MPU, PDS, PDLS, and so on. Then, of course, we have the discipline courses. This will be your program-specific courses. And, of course, the co-curricular activities, teams and community courses, youth project, Project W, and so on. So when we talk about implementation of GAs, the most common is this. All right, the most common is this. The first two here, I don't want to emphasize so much, but this one is the one that I feel very, very important. Clubs and societies. That's why we always need to encourage our students, please join clubs and societies. Please join. Over in Penang, on and off, I do visit there. And sometimes when I'm in the Georgetown campus, I remember my last visit there was during Valentine's Day. It wasn't not this year. It was I think last year's Valentine's Day, or the year before that. I can't really remember. But I remember seeing the students have activity at the foyer. All right, students were having activity where they got other students to put notes and so on, flowers and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I don't think so, right? It was, right? Was it last or the previous, Now, you can see students running the activities on their own, mainly on their own. Of course, got lecturer advisor. Now, what is the role of a lecturer advisor? Every club and society got advisor. The advisor is the one that is the captain of the ship. The captain of the ship that guides the student to where they want to go. Say that, okay, this is where we are going, but the students are the one that control or steer the ship to that destination. All right, this is what's important. If the ship diverges off from its main path, that means the goal that is out that the student is doing, the captain will bring them back. That is why the club advisor plays a very important role in this. Okay, so what I saw over there in the Georgetown campus was something very interesting. Students running the event, students being the MC, students photographer, and so on. So there were many, many things that were actually happening. And there were challenges also. I remember there were certain things before they wanted to run, then certain things were not around. How did they overcome those difficulties and challenges? Those are learning that you cannot get in class. Overcoming those things, overcoming difficulty and challenges while running an event you cannot experience in class. All right. So those are the things that will develop character and will complement really very much the graduate attributes that we want students to achieve. So many things over here. That is why over in Penang and also in UG here, over here we have the SAC. Over in Penang, it's under Miss Joey. She runs all the events. This is something that we as academicians, we mustn't look at it as something which is just a supplementary product. It's not a supplementary product. It is actually a core product. It is very important. All right, it is very, very important. So if you look at even not only the graduate attributes, you look at the 11 subclusters under the MQF subclusters, knowledge, comprehension, practical skills are only 3. Cognitive knowledge and practical skills are only 3 of the 11. All right. Other skills, majority of them are affective skills, interpersonal, ethics, and so on. So these are the skills that not only do you attain in class, but you really can attain it through co-curricular activities. That is why we really, really encourage or even the lecturers to tell the students, please go and join, go and join. Go ahead. If there's an event, if we can adjust our class time for students to participate in an event, we will do that because that is very important. Okay. Even MQA, when MQA comes over, they check. Yes, they check table 4. Then also they speak to the students. When they speak to the students is, do you got activities here or not? What are the key activities? How do you do that? So they speak a lot on those things. All right. So there is a big emphasis. There's a large emphasis on the development of not just the academic side of things. Okay. So graduate attributes need not be described in the CLO. So our course learning outcome, don't talk about graduate attributes, but it need not be, no need. And could be attained through the delivery of the course through activities and processes. So it is a byproduct. So once we know, then everything can be attained. We teach our students, we meet our CLO, and during that process, we also meet our graduate attributes. That is what we're trying to say. During that, we also meet our graduate attributes. No need to reinvent the wheel, purposely go and come up with a new set of standards. Oh, this is to be done for us to achieve our graduate attribute. No, but during the process. But we need to be cautious in the way that we know that what we do, where do we adjust, which areas do we adjust so that we can better reflect on those graduate attributes itself. Okay. So it is like this. Let's say our journey from Malaysia all the way, we want to land in Heathrow in UK. So you can take a direct flight. A direct flight is very easy. So you go over here, then immediately you experience the life in London. But you can also take another flight. You can take from here all the way to Rangoon, then we go to Nepal, then we reach Tehran, then we are in Libya, Italy, France, and finally London. Now, if every stop you do a 2-day layoff, look at the different experiences that you will get. We are going to the same destination. The same destination is this, but this way that we go. So the whole experience that the student will get will be very different. So yes, we are going to UK, but because of the amount of stops that we take, then it becomes a total different experience. So I still remember, this is old story, 1986. I still remember in 1986 when my mom, this is my mother's story, 86 is like 39 years ago, man. Oh my God. Anyway, 39 years ago, my mom did her first trip to UK to visit my uncle. And during that time, she flew this airline, some of you may know, called Aeroflot. Pernah dengar? Aeroflot is Russian airline. Okay, anyway, fine. So basically, her flight, if I'm not wrong, had 2 main stops, one in Moscow, and the other one was in Pakistan. Okay, during that time, they stopped in Pakistan first. Then after that, it went to Moscow, and their stopover is not our normal 2-3 hour stopover. No, it was a 36-hour stopover. Okay. So now what I'm saying is this: yes, the journey it was a very long journey for her. However, she came back and she could tell a story. Hey, over in Moscow, the airport, she talks about it. She will not have experienced it if it was a direct flight. So basically, she managed to experience something, she sees something which enrich her learning over there. And because of a detour, these are called detours in learning. All right. So this is how it is. This is what it is. So, 39 years ago, I'm still a preschooler. 39 years ago, I'm standard 5, man. Okay, anyway, that is what it is. So what I'm trying to stress over here, ladies and gentlemen, is basically when we look at graduate attributes, we know here student need to attain the degree. Cannot run away. Student must attain the degree. But the journey, let's look at the journey that the student takes. How do we develop? How do we encourage? How do we enhance? How do we make things more the aspect of value, the value proposition in the student? Joining clubs here, before they reach there, they join societies. They go on trips. They work with groups and so on. And at the end of the day, they get their degree. And they are totally different students. They see things in a different light. They value things differently because they experience. That's why they experience. Okay. Another example. I think this is, I can't remember which school is it. Sorry. Our first batch of students that actually did that transfer over to Australia. Was it computing? Was it computing? You know, recently we have this semester abroad. Student go over to Australia for 1 semester, pay local fees. If I'm not wrong, it's computing or something like that. The feedback I got of students was like, student average to mid-average student went over to Australia. The grades were actually pretty good. Okay, and the feedback was actually good. It was a good experience. The students said, "Wow, you know, they have a different perspective about learning, working with groups, and so on." Because here, the dimension, the cultural dimension is very similar. Malaysian, majority Malaysian. Over there, it's different. Over there, the expectations are different, different kinds of students. So you need to adapt accordingly also. So this is learning that will definitely enhance or that students' achievement of their graduate attributes would definitely be higher due to the experience. So if you can, you all encourage students, do that semester abroad. However, there's only a few schools there, not wrong, computing and business only. The others, not yet, slow. So, examples of GA implementation in the course. Okay, how? So, the example I'm going to use over here is statistics degree of engineering. All right. The lecturer or the person was Kaldip. She was the lecturer in this course. She teaches mathematics, statistics in engineering, and she's also one of my staff. She's also part of the teaching and learning colleagues. So before she went in, she wanted to implement. So we were discussing about it on what are things to be done and how it should be done. Then she actually applied it. So after application, she got feedback from the students. So this is basically her finding. Okay. So when you look at statistics, key area that the statistics course allows students to develop. Students, if you look at statistics, we will always think statistics is a very theoretical course, mathematics and such. So it's going to be technical knowledge and critical thinking. So we are looking at GA1 and GA4, which is not wrong. So definitely students will achieve the GA1, not achieve, they will be exposed to GA1 and GA4 kind of attributes. Okay. However, what the lecturer did was developing GA through the course. The lecturer also wanted to develop other things like communication skill, like ethical awareness, like teamwork. So in her development of a class, she became conscious in a way that she wanted to also develop communication, say GA3. She also wanted to look into ethics. She also wanted to look at teamwork. So out of the 6 graduate attributes, normally we would think statistics will cover 2. But now due to her delivery, due to the way she approached, she didn't miss the destination. The destination is the same, but she enhanced it by emphasizing on another 3 GAs on communication, ethics, and teamwork. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, many of you are doing it, but you are doing it in a subconscious manner because this is something that you practice regularly. But if you really think about it, yeah, I'm actually doing communication skill, but maybe I need to be more formal in it. All right. Don't just ask students any questions, or don't just ask students who wants to come. Maybe you come up with a process. So now let's look into it. Okay. So lecturer also encourage the students to develop GA3, which is strong communication skills, as they will be likely to involve in presenting findings and working on group activities. So what she did was this. She got the students. Now, honestly, she was quite blessed. The class wasn't 100 students. The class was a small class. And 20, belasan or 20. So what she did was every time when there's work, come out, student will need to do the working and explain. So you may think, hey, it's just explaining numbers. Yes, but in context of communication skill, putting in that environment was very unique. Students normally no need to go and present, suddenly needed to present. So students go up, do the working and started presenting. The reason why this is this and so on. So it encouraged students to communicate. All right? Encourage students to communicate. And not only did she ask them to do that, she gave student feedback. Well done. Good one. She will say, hey, well done, John. Your presentation, your explanation was very clear, and I believe the students understand. If it's not that, she will tell, Ali, maybe on this part there, you may want to describe it or explain it properly with the correct jargons or terminologies. So this is guiding. So number one, ladies and gentlemen, not only do you do it, but you need to formalize it. So you need to make sure that if students do communication skills, they present, but you need to give feedback so that the students know whether it was good or bad. Now, did it impact your learning outcome? No, because you are still teaching mathematics, stats, statistics of mathematics. This goes, but you take that opportunity for them to learn something else. Now, why do I say it needs to be structured? Because first day you get Ali to do. So second day, don't call Ali back again. Call Abu. Then you call John. Then you call Samantha, and so on. So under your list, you can just do a tick lah. Oh, Ali already did that presentation, that learning already. And the good thing is this: once students see routine, oh, my teacher will call one by one. They will improve themselves, and that is called self-reflection. Student will reflect on themselves. Hey, maybe my name will be called very soon, so I better make sure the jargons I use is correct. Make sure I know how to pronounce properly. Subconsciously, students' fear of being called is developing them. Is developing them. Okay? So this is how it is. I used to do it when I was teaching. Every 10 to 15 minutes, my first 10 to 15 minutes in my class, normally 10 minutes, is called Today's in the News. What is the news today? So I will go in, I'll say, okay, in the class of today, Samantha, tell me what news do you know about for today lah. So the student will need to present, oh, today, sir, based on what I read from the Sun, based on what I this is the news, these are the key news and so on. But related to the topic that I am doing. What was I teaching? For teaching human resources, then it is very human resource related on, anything about companies going bankrupt or whatever. If it is marketing, so it's a business news. If we are doing something to do with management or what, it could be political news and so on. The reason I did that is, one, because I wanted to encourage communication in them, because I already picked them one and they know Mr. Gabriel style. I will pick one and I will follow this one. Okay, you. So some students thought, oh, I'm lucky, he already picked me. Too bad lah, I can pick you again one. Okay, and it encouraged students to critical thinking. They start reading. Our students don't read, all right? They don't read. So they started reading. And that habit is, oh, let's read. So eventually, it wasn't only my class that forced them to read. Because previously, over here, we get free The Sun newspaper. It started off when students started taking just the Sun newspaper for my class. Then slowly they take every day because they started also reading other things. They found out that the Sun also had news on movies. So it was interesting. All right. So it benefited them. That is what we want to inculcate. All right. But now no more lah. Now the Sun no more free already. So different. So I like physical media because it creates that tactile feel. The students will actually read, see. I don't like, I'm not saying I don't like, that's a wrong word to use. I don't find it that good if it is using online and so on, because some students who don't read, immediately in class, you see them using the phone. Business news today. Not nice lah, okay? Then immediately, oh, today, then they read from their phone. No. I want that physical, because in the newspaper, you need to find. For those of you who did research, I remember when I used to do my dissertation in the 90s, we used to go to the library. There's this place called the library. You need to go to the library, you find the book, ask the librarian, help you to find a book. You read, sit down there for 3 hours, reading, and you find the content, nothing can use. Put back. Take another book. Now students don't need to go through the headache. Everything is digital, very fast. Where can I find this and that? Last time it is read. But how did it benefit me? The reading habit, the habit of reading. No choice. You have to read and you need to do speed reading because there's no way you could have done your taking your time kind of reading style. You needed to be fast because time is only 24 hours a day and there are a few articles that you need to read. So you get it now, guys? It is a byproduct. We achieve it, okay, by just doing that. So this is what the lecturer did. Then, moreover, the lecturer's facilitation method instills a sense of ethical awareness as they made decisions regarding data collection, analysis, and reporting. So in statistics, she also talked about ethical awareness. He said, guys, when you do research, I know sometimes it is very difficult to do research, time consuming and expensive. So many a times, some people may fictate data, fictitious data. They make their own data, but that is ethically wrong. And it is wrong. And she explains about what is it all about. Because statistics, the course of statistics, not only is about stats, but she links it to ethical awareness. So ethical awareness is GA2. Okay? Does not affect her learning outcome. This emphasis on integrity and responsibility aligns with UOW Malaysia's commitment to producing ethically conscious graduates. Then teamwork, GA5, is a significant aspect of the engineering field. Thus, students are often engaged in multidisciplinary teams to collaborate on projects. Effective teamwork and communication skills are emphasized in the rubric, enabling them to work harmoniously with classmates to achieve shared goals. She also put them into groups at times, even though it's maths. Okay, put into groups, discuss things, give situations, give cases. So during your case study time or during your tutorial time, put them in groups. Let them go and do, then fine. Okay, so let them work, do in that group dynamic element. There are certain disciplines where group work is actually less compared to other disciplines. Hospitality, a lot. No choice. You run restaurants, kitchens, and so on. But if you're doing, for example, ACCA, accounting, the chances of group work may be less. I'm not saying no, but will be less compared to the others. So how do you further encourage this? By integrating elements of teamwork into your goal. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, just 3 examples over here. Straightforward. This is what is done. Okay? Now, lastly, sorry, one more here. Lastly, the learning experience in a statistic course will instill a sense of curiosity and adaptability, encouraging the students to pursue lifelong learning. All right. So during the explanation, she will also say things about, see, statistics can link to actuarial science, maybe can link to what kind of career, can link to this, can link to that. Make it fun. All right, that students will say, maybe after this lesson, let me read about something else. Let me read about something else and so on. Okay, so the reason why we took this as a key case study or to try, and it was quite effective, was because many students are fearful of stats. It's like in secondary school, the most fearful course is additional maths. People are just fearful. Those who are not mathematically inclined, those who are good. But those of them who are just, there and you need to do, then they are very, very fearful of that one. Additional maths. I think sometimes the stigma of the name already scare people. So it is not just maths, so it's additional maths, higher maths, must be very difficult. Number one. Number two, it is past knowledge and past news. Your seniors tell you, wah, banyak susah. Already banyak susah 3 kali, you hear that. You go into class, already banyak susah in your mind. Okay, already difficult. So 30% of the battle is lost because it's already difficult. Okay, it's already difficult. So this is what? Now they feel programming is difficult in uni. My AdMath score never passed 30. Wow, very honest, Pak E, Okay, very honest. It's okay, fine. Okay. Exactly, like Bridget said, even programming is the same thing. So sometimes this is how we tend to adjust it. We want to use, they got no choice but to do it, but we enhance it, we deliver it in a way that they are able to develop their graduate attributes. So now, as I said, the lecturer also formalized it. So she had a rubric. Okay, so she did a rubric, effective communication, communication statistics. So she marked over there. So we got on communication, critical thinking, intellectual competency, and so on. Now, why this rubric? Now, this rubric was the first version. After that, she adjusted individually. So at least she can give feedback to the student. Not only did she just tell, hey, John, your communication good lah, but she can also show, actually, your this area here, you could improve it by having more clarity on certain things and so on. So this is just in the way formalizing it. Okay. Now, here, this one is good if your class is small, but if your class is big, can be a little bit difficult. I understand. So it can be done during tutorial times. If you have tutorial sessions where the groups are smaller, you can then grow or you can nurture the GAs through the tutorial session. Okay. These are just sheets. So what she had was a rubric. So she had that rubric inside there to cover. Now, so strengths and challenges. Got challenges also. Not say everything is good. The engineering students displayed a commendable focus on presenting the work steps during their session. Presenting, effectively capturing their classmates' attention and delivering content that was both clear and relevant. Good lah. So engineering students go and do presentation, they can present. However, despite the well-prepared content, there was a noted area for improvement in the organization of the presentation. Students can talk, but not organized. Not organized, with occasional lapse in clarity during delivery, potentially hindering overall comprehension. Okay, so she guide the student. Say, student, your presentation good, but your flow not so good lah. Your flow, the way you explain, not so good. So she explained to the student. Once she explained to the student, even after that already, see, the student would then improve in their communication skill element. And this could also touch on presentation skill. But this is not assessed in their learning outcome. So student is like this, already benefit from the LO, CLO all achieved. Now they are learning other things. They are learning other things other than what was stated in the CLO, which will complement their graduate attributes. Okay. On a positive note, the students demonstrated effective teamwork, collaborating effectively in groups, and receiving positive feedback to bolster their confidence and motivation. Generally, what we found, our engineering students in the past 5 to 10 years have been very, 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 very obedient. We are very good students. I don't know, was it my last training? Last week, who joined my OBE training? Did any of you join my OBE training? If you did, you will remember me saying this. In the past few years, there has been no fights, barely any serious fights with by our students. Now, some of you may say, Gabe, that is good news lah. Okay, I joined KDU during that time in 2001, and I can tell you, during that time, every year, sure got case one. Gado, Tumbuk in the old campus. Yeah, normal lah. Because the students were at the age group, 18, 19, 20, 21. They have they're slowly developing their character, and the development of a character requires us to experiment, to try. Okay. So there were fights, which we handled, no problem. But recently, in the past 10 years, I'm just using the number because I'm just trying to recollect, barely anything anymore already. Why? Our students are so much more engrossed with technology that they lost the ability to communicate face-to-face. They are what you call keyboard warriors. Oh, elder brother, ex-engineering student. Good. Not the one fighting lah, I understand lah. So anyway, they lost the ability to communicate already, Everything keyboard warrior, correct? So of course, no fight lah. Fight happens or disagreement happens when there is a disagreement or misunderstanding of ideas or values. Conflict, that is conflict. So if there is no need to disagree because we don't even talk to each other, no fights. Okay? So in the good sense, no issue. On the bad sense, what is happening to our students? What is happening to them? They have lost the ability to do what I am doing or you are doing now. Okay, and this is very sad because yes, the industry is changing, but the employer still needs a lot of these key roles, key skills in the student. Okay, so by doing so, what has happened is the lecturer over here was trying to not create fights, but to further nurture that let them be able to express themselves. Group works, more group works. Because disagreement is very important. When you have disagreements, you learn how to bargain. You learn how to compromise. And you learn how to accept that you're not always right. Okay? So this is it. These are the skills that we instill in them during the journey during their journey to achieve their degree. Okay? Get it, huh? Now, despite delivering thought-provoking content, the lack of questions and meaningful discussion from classmates suggests a need to foster a more interactive learning environment to deepen understanding and enrich the overall learning experience. So what my lecturer found out is this. She implement a lot of interaction and so on, but students are still so dormant, very quiet, sit down there quiet, no ask question, nothing. So she brought in questions and so on. So now her challenge now is a lot of things work. Her next stage is how do we get students who traditionally has been very, very quiet, recessive kind, quiet, don't talk much, to come out and be able to express. It is not easy. One way that happens is this. You take this student, you put them in an environment where everybody speaks, and then she becomes the minority. No, why do I use the word she? Sorry. And this individual becomes the minority. No choice, they will speak because nobody likes to be an island. But if everybody don't speak, when she speaks, she is the minority. So nobody likes that. All right. So that is why changing the environment is where it becomes important. That is why, as I stress, many a times we hear so-and-so student here very quiet, went over to Switzerland. Wow, this student was so good, can talk, can express this and that. Why? Environment. So when you look into the graduate attributes here, ladies and gentlemen, one key aspect is the environment plays a very key role. The environment, the learning environment itself. That is why the course itself is there, but the CC activities, co-curricular activities play so much of an important. The environment, how the lecturer approaches it, the friends, that is where they develop to be good citizens. Get this, guys? Okay. Okay. So those are the challenges. Now, her process, what she's doing is still continuing. In the future with more updates. I will update in my next session. Of course, I'll put in more updates, and I will also get different facilitators and lecturers to share their findings on this. Okay. Okay. So other examples. What other examples do we want that you can use? Using, yes, environment. Okay, definitely learning environment being essential to learning. Definitely. I truly. Okay, I'll give you another example. See, I'm a guy with many examples. I used to teach this course called International Tourism. And every semester, I bring the students on international trips. So we do research. So these are year 3 degree students, and we have specific research topics that when we go to that country, we will do research, meaning interviewing people, meeting ministry people, and so on and whatnot, and so on. So every night I have class, every night. So regardless, even though we're in Hanoi, and then we return back at 11 p.m. I will make sure they have a ballroom or a room for us. We will have a class. So I'll say, okay, guys, we reach here. 12 o'clock is your class, 12 to 1:30. So at night, we will have a class, a reflective class every night. So it can be a group of 20 to a group of 50. So if a group is big, too bad. We have a big room, then we actually did it. There was once I even did it on a ship. We took a cruise. That was a learning aspect, and we did it on a ship. That was very interesting. Okay. So what I found out is this. The learning environment in that context, just picture this, after the whole visitation that the students went through, at night when I had the class was fabulous. The interaction was fabulous. The whole learning prospects, the question, the argument, not argument, academic argument was so interesting. Students that you don't expect to open their mouth suddenly became the spokesman for the group. Some students came wrapped with towel on their hair because they just took a shower. No problem, because you arrive at 11, my class is at 12, you need to shower first. The environment plays a very critical role. Taking them out from the classroom environment really drove the way that they think, really drove the whole initiative context, that the way that they are. All right. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting. And I can vouch for it because every time when I had this, it was the students itself feedback was, sir, it was a total different learning environment. Can we do this? As it cannot, we cannot travel every day. If you travel every day, it becomes the norm. If it becomes the norm, then it is not unique anymore. All right. So, but that is how it is. So what I want to say here is this, ladies and gentlemen, as what was stressed over there by Dr. Kamini, the environment, major. Okay. However, we can build or we can facilitate an environment. Okay. Now, so other examples over here. Okay. Other examples. So what we have over here is using real world examples to encourage concepts and ideas, reflect on the news first thing during every lesson. So this is like what I normally do lah. We reflect on the news of the day, relate it to your topic, and then you talk about it. And then when you talk about it, you can put in ethical considerations. So student, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about, especially business students? You say, what do you think about the acquisition of this company by this company? Why do you think it's like that? Then the students will argue lah. So one will say, sir, this is not ethical, this and that. And another group of students will say, but the company is only liable and responsible for their stakeholders. And the stakeholders' purpose is to make money. So they had to do it because they needed to make money. So this is where they think. Number one. Number two, link key concept examples during lessons. All right. So you can link key concepts and ideas like statistics and mathematics. I give you an example. Believe me, you all know about compounded interest, right? Compounded interest is like EPF, bank, and so on. Okay, I tell you a joke, seriously. I teach degree students previously, and then when I talk about the power of compounding, student put up my hand, sir, bank only give 3%. 3% very little, you know. Yes, I understand. But see, they don't understand. These are really quite high-level students. They don't understand compounding, you know. That means you leave the money there, it compound, you make more money, money make money, and so on. So sometimes these basic concepts can be used. And for them, you are developing critical thinking in them. Okay, critical thinking. All right. So example, compounded interest. I mean, all of us know, right? Compounded interest, and why is it so good to put in EPF, leave the money in EPF and this and that, because of the concept of compounding. So for some of you, I think you all would know, normally end of February, first week of March, EPF will declare their interest for last year, right? So any hints, any of you got any inside news? What is the percentage going to be? Ada? So sometimes I like to chat with my business school and some of them will say, okay, this year, yes, the news say it's going to be 6.1, 6.2, but they won't give. They will keep some for this and that and this. Okay. That's very interesting. I also learn, lifelong learning for me. Okay. Now, 3, using new and relevant tools to solve problems, like software. During class, use the tool, because this is where you need to take initiative. You need to find out certain of the new tools that then you go into class. Hey, students, you can use that. That is something that you can actually start thinking about and to be able to use. So you are learning. You are encouraging the students to learn and to be able to use different kinds of tools in aspect. So some question here. There's nothing wrong with making money if opportunity. Yes, of course, that's what I love. But how the money is spent requires conscious and to be. Yes. So this is whatever you say over there, Dr. Loh, communicate with the students. Communicate with the students. Say, so this is where it encourages thought. This is what we want, critical thinking. And that's part of the graduate attribute, because students are the result of the environment. If all quiet, nobody's going to speak. So we want to encourage that general encouragement. Okay, so like I give an example, I give an example, example. Let me just grow up. We started our session at 9 a.m. It was pretty quiet until 9:30. Then you see, slowly 9:30, 9:33, more questions. Dr. Loh wrote his first comment. Then we had Bak E, then Loh back again, then Loh again, then Bak E, then Kamini, and so on. You see? Starting we were quiet, slowly we created an environment of learning through our chat lah, a bit slower lah. But this is called an environment of learning. Why? Because that kind of environment needs to be nurtured. Starting quiet, everybody learning, pay attention, then slowly they develop. See, good example. We ourselves over here. Apa ni? Now influence Jeb has apa tu influence Jeb? My students was debate about to be vaccinated or not. Oh, influenza not to be vaccinated. Oh, okay, that one separate lah. Okay, good. Influenza jab is 200 lah. Okay. Mahal ke tak mahal? Normally what? Normally 75, right? Normally 75 or 80 bucks, is it? 60. Now 200. Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Because now demand is very high. Everybody's scared about influenza. So supply not enough, the price go up. Never mind. Older people got special one. They're giving senior senior citizen not getting free yet. Okay. So guys, come. So this is to using different tools. So if you have a tool, let's say a software that is very effective, let your students pass to them. Let them, encourage them to use. And also, many a times your student will tell you, sir, this tool is very good to do certain kind of analysis. They themselves learn because they are also searching. And of course, encourage subject-related debate in the confines of academia. Now, I put it clearly here in the confines of academia is, always remember, you want debate. Debate can be very sensitive at times. Like example, is making money ethical or not, for example? It is. I mean, we must encourage debate. Debate doesn't mean one person is wrong over the other. No, it is to be able to come up with thought and be able to put your thought through to the other person, and whether you're able to convince the other person with facts. That is what a debate is. Okay. However, we must also take note when we do this in class, we need to also have certain guidelines. It is important to have guidelines also. Certain institution globally, best practice. You can debate anything in the confines of academia. In Malaysia, maybe not. So just be careful. All right. So what can or cannot be done, just take into consideration we are multicultural and so on. So maybe certain topics may not want to touch lah. Okay. So important to look into that. Okay, guys. Following or not? Can or not? Understand? Graduate attributes. So remember the journey, student from Malaysia going all the way to UK. The UK is their degree. The UK is their degree. So we want to take a lot of detours. Detour kiri, kanan, atas, bawah, and so on, so that they can reach. Itu, graduate attributes. And the graduate attributes is based on what we feel the student must have when they graduate. That is the graduate attributes. So ladies and gentlemen, what we need to do. So what we need to do, you all know lah. At the ending stage of presentation, only we have the what we need to do. Okay, so we are going to finish already. Okay. 1. Review LLO and CLO to see relevance. LLO is lesson learning outcome. Okay, review your lesson learning outcome and your cross learning outcome. If it's good, very good, then you may want to enhance it. So if you see your course learning outcome or your lesson, today's lesson, I am going to teach student about, let's say, in marketing terms, let's say in recruitment, I used to teach human resources. In recruitment, in human resources, we have this thing called the recruitment process. So we're going to do recruitment. So you think, maybe this lesson, I'm going to emphasize ethical behavior in recruitment. Ethical behavior. What are the things that ethically we can ask or not, or we shouldn't ask? So you put that in. So you review that. Then you review your delivery method. How you deliver. Maybe you change it to be less one-dimensional, but more multi-dimensional, get students' feedback, group work, this and that, and so on. 3, review your assessment to encourage critical skill development. Does your assessment require students to think critically? So that is also something important. You want to review it, boleh ke tak? Can we change this? Can we not change that? Can we do this? Can we not do that? And share with program colleagues your planned activities. I always believe this. We are only satu kepala. Your department got 3, 4, 5 different kepala. Sometimes they can give you very good feedback. Regardless, I'm learning a lot from my staff. Seriously. Because they are also having new things, new ideas. So sometimes when I chat with them, I have a very open door system here. We chat, then, hey, this is a good idea. I'm going to use it. Because there's so much we can learn. And we are only limited to 24 hours. So if you get your other colleagues and you share with them, all of them do their own research and ideas, then your depth of knowledge will be much wider and deeper. That is what's important. Okay, Ken? So before I go, thank you. This is thank you. We are at the end. I want to encourage all of you. You know what graduate attributes are. You know that this is what it is. You are teachers. You already have your lesson. Now it's trying to merge these two together. Put this together in a way that when you do your lesson, you're teaching your students, you are also developing the graduate attributes in them. No need to reinvent the wheel, but tweak the wheel. Just tweak here, tweak there a little bit to ensure achievement of that goal. But through the achievement of the goal, they will learn so much at the side. Boleh? So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Are there any questions? If they are not at the moment, you can always mail me. I really appreciate your time. Have a very good weekend. It is a nice Friday day today. Thank you very much. For my Penang colleagues, I should be up there soon, very soon, very, very soon. Yes, this time I make a point to go up there. All right. Very soon, then we can actually sit down and chat anytime on this matter. For my Selangor colleagues, my door is always open. Just come and drop by. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.